Hi gang. Today I'd like to do something that you may not have seen too often on YouTube from a trans woman, but I'm going to do some book reviews. Thought that would be interesting for some of us who are maybe trying to determine what it is that that we're feeling, or what our condition might be that we have, or are we trans, and maybe we're not ready to go find a therapist yet, or maybe we can't afford a therapist, or maybe we can't find one that's any good in our area, which is a big deal, okay? But you know what, reading a book written by some transgender person or cross-dresser or something like that, learning about how they feel, learning about some of their experiences, and then comparing our lives to theirs, is not always the litmus test. It's not always the way to do it 100%, but it will give you an idea. It could give you an idea of you know, what you got going on. And I enjoy it. We don't all like to read, but I think a lot of us do. So I'm going to get started. First book I'd like to talk about is called The Transgender Guidebook, and it is written by Ann L. Boddicker, PhD. I guess the complete title is Transgender Guidebook, Keys to a Successful Transition. And it's the first book that was written by an expert or an experienced professional in our field, in this field, specifically for transgender clients. With 20 chapters and over 300 pages, it is a very comprehensive guide for all aspects of a trans woman's life, or even trans man. There's a lot of stuff in there on trans men as well. There's tips on finding the right kind of therapist to begin your transition, or just to determine what it is that you got going on, to working with allies, or preparing yourself for people who may not be your allies and may try to detract from what you're doing or may try to hurt you, to the medical aspects, surgeries and things like that of transitioning. And it even covers a chapter on finances and how to learn how to budget your money and things like that, because as many of you already know, transitioning and sometimes the resulting split in the marriage or loss of support from people can affect your finances in a big way. And so this book even covers that aspect, because this lady has seen it all and dealt with it, helped her clients deal with it. Anyway, my rating system, you know, if I like something, it's a 6-inch stiletto. If I don't like something, it's a flat. I would say overall, there's a lot of stuff in this book that I kind of already knew, so it was kind of hard to read through it, but it did, because you know, it got a little boring when you kind of already have been there, done that. But it is a wonderful book. It is full of information, and so in that respect, I would probably give it. It's not a novel. It's not drama. It's not, you know, really interesting. But in that respect, I would give it a 5-inch heel. It's a very good, comprehensive book. The next book I'd like to talk about is called Transgender No More by Zoe Dolan. And this one's only 23 pages, but something you could do in one sitting, and I recommend it because of the way it's written. Anyway, she got me with the first couple lines in the book, and she's a trans woman, so, you know, to give you a little credential there, I'll quote the first few lines from the book. "People ask me when I first knew I was female, would you believe me if I told you that I don't know if I've ever known? Since I don't really know what a woman is, other than a concept that exists outside me." And you know, I've never been able to say, trying to determine whether or not I'm transgender, and I believe I am, but I've never been able to say I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. I feel like a woman. I've never been able to make that statement. And when I read this in a book by someone I'd never met, completely unrelated life, it hit me. And this is one of the similarities that that I find in these books that I read. And I'm not, as I may have already discussed with you, I'm not self-diagnosing here. I'm working with professionals now, and I have worked with professionals all my life, off and on. But when you read this other stuff from other people that is so similar to what you're feeling, it kind of helps drive it home, and it works and helps your self-esteem a little more. Anyway, it's a great read. It's articulate, it's very articulate, and the writing is almost poetic. And like I said before, I would recommend just sitting down and reading the 23 pages. It goes pretty smoothly, and it is quite a moving experience. And I would definitely give this little book a 6-inch stiletto. So number 3 today, I'm going to try to jam in like 4 books today for you, if you haven't turned away yet, is called I'm Not the Man I Used to Be, and it is written by a trans woman named Kenna Dixon. And it is it's a lovely book. Okay, it's 232 pages, so I don't know if you're going to read it all in one sitting. And it's kind of not being the most articulate person in the world, I would call it an autobiography, as she is writing it about her own life. But it doesn't really cover a whole lot of stuff in her younger years. It basically kind of starts out with her in her 50s. And it talks and says how she has been trying to deal with being transgender for years, and she was actually self-medicating, which is not, a good idea at all. And she subsequently got with some therapists and doctors, and they straightened her out on that and got her healthy dosages and stuff. But it's neat because she believed, she was married, she didn't want to leave her wife, and her wife and her were close friends, and she didn't want to become a full-time woman, but she did want to express herself as a woman. And in that respect, her and I have such a big similarity that it really struck me. Oh my gosh, another person that has the same kind of feeling as I do. So she took a job as a volunteer, working in a volunteer situation in a big city. And of course, she was afraid when she applied for the job, when she said, I want to be as a woman, I want to work as a woman. And she figured they were just going to tell her, sorry, we don't need you. Because this was a few years ago, okay? This was quite a few years ago. And anyway, basically what they told her was, hey, if you'll work for free, we don't care what color you are. We don't care if you're green. Get down here and get to work. And that's all they cared about. How good of a job can you do for us? And it really made her feel so good. And she got her faith in humanity restored. That people generally, if you're offering yourself, you're out to do something good, and your intentions are good. The people that she encountered just treated her like a lady, like the lady she was acting like. It's a funny read. It's a funny story. There's a section in the middle where she continues to talk about what I would have to say starts to become a mundane lifestyle of going to this job, and the same things happening over and over and over again. So it kind of slowed down in the middle, and I had a hard time getting through a few of the pages. But I was glad I did, because I really learned how insightful the whole book was, the whole story was. It's interesting, as far as I know, this lady is still alive, and if you read the book, you'll find out where she relocated and what she does. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I would give this one a 6-inch stiletto for all of the similarities that I read in this book to me and to my own life. I would definitely give it a 6-inch stiletto. So for last but not least, certainly not least, I would like to talk about a wonderful book that I read a few years ago. So it's not new. I don't think none of these books that I've read are that new. But maybe if you're looking for a book, I hope I was able to help you. Anyway, this one's called Warrior Princess, a U.S. Navy SEAL's journey to coming out transgender. And it's written by a trans lady named Kristen Beck and Anne Speckhard, PhD, someone that Kristen was working with. And they decided to write this book together. It's 254 pages, and it is an autobiography or a biography, because a lot of it's written by Anne. But it talks about Kristen talks about her life as a young boy, growing up, how she felt, her feelings. She always felt a little strange. She was always attracted to girl stuff, and she wanted to dress like a girl, things like that. And she ended up, trying to prove to her family and herself what a great macho, tough guy she could be by becoming a Navy SEAL and setting records in the Navy SEAL boot camp that they have for stamina and speed and endurance, things like that. She was the man's man, and that's not really an issue with us. But for some of us who wonder, since I'm so manly or whatever, how could I possibly be trans? You read this book and you realize it makes no difference. And of course, we've got Caitlyn Jenner too in the past coming out. So you could be a male decathlon winner and a 20-year Navy SEAL with 13 deployments under your belt and still be a woman inside. She's now running for Congress, so the book has a happy ending, but it's her life of getting through. In case you were wondering if you saw me fidgeting here a little bit, I couldn't keep my best friend, my dog, away from me while I finished this video, so I just had to scratch him on the head a little bit, and now he's leaving. Anyway. This book is kind of fun to read. It's a little sad, as a lot of our stories are. But I would definitely give this one a 5-inch heel. It's not a, oh, now he's knocking my cords around for my lights. Anything for attention. And I'll be with you in a minute, pal. So that was it. So we got Warrior Princess, we have Transgender Guidebook, we have I'm Not the Man I Used to Be, and we have Transgender No More. Every one of them is worth the money. They're all, I believe, available on Kindle. I can't say that for sure about Warrior Princess, but the other three are available on Kindle, or you can get the paperback or the hardcover, whatever you want. I believe that's all I have for today. I got to go read 4 more books, and we're going to be doing a couple more videos. We're editing now, and they're going to be coming out. I'm hoping to keep a new one coming out every week, but we will see if I have the stamina to do that. Got a really neat one coming out where we're going to do a little review on a wine shop that is run by a trans woman, and it's really cool because she took it over, and it was a failing business, and she took it over, and now it's unbelievable success story for this trans woman and her business. And so I'm going to go down and with my crew, and we're going to do a little review on that, and that we're anticipating that one's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you all so much for watching, and love and peace to all, and let's just try to accept each other for who we are.